Donovan Mitchell's excellent tenure with Utah Jazz ended a while ago. The former 13th overall pick from 2017 has blossomed into a player who deserves much credit for the organization's recent success. Donovan is giving superstar performances with the Cleveland Cavaliers and logged 23 points against his former franchise. In today's video, we'll look at the recent tea spilled by the NBA star guard about his Jazz days. So let's dive in. Firstly, Donovan Mitchell admits it was draining to be in Salt Lake City due to off-court issues. Donovan Mitchell, aka Spida, talked about the challenges of living in Utah, saying that while he had a good run playing some successful seasons for 5 years with Utah Jazz, it was draining as a black man to stay in Salt Lake City owing to off-the-court events. During an interview on ESPN's Andscape with Mark Spears, the NBA player expressed these issues saying, quote, "It's completely relieving for me. I won't lie about it, it's no secret that I dealt with many problems while living in Utah. If I'm being honest, I never really expressed this, but it was draining. It consumed my energy simply because you couldn't sit in your own room and cheer for me while still making all of these actions." The former Jazz player further said, quote, "I'm not naming names, but I believe it was a mix of things. A Utah State Senator, Stuart Adams, told me I needed to learn more about my black heritage, witnessing black children being bullied due to their skin color, seeing Isabella Titchener, a young girl, hang herself because she was bullied." On the amount of pushback Donovan received in Utah, the NBA player said that at one point it felt like one thing happened after another and it got too much for him. He was reported saying, quote, "I'll admit that there are other places where it exists, but I'll always advocate for racial equality, and the amount of backlash I've received over the years has been a lot." Let's learn more about Donovan's experience in Utah on Andscape. NBA players will admit that they hear obscene racist comments from fans both on and off the court in almost every city, but there are a couple of places where it's more common than others. Utah is consistently near the top of that terrible list. Dwayne Wade had troubles there, and Russell Westbrook had awful run-ins with so-called fans there. Recently, Ja Morant's family heard vulgar and racial statements from some of the supporters there. Of course, not everyone should be blamed in Utah, but players felt racially motivated actions seemed more common in the city. Mitchell shared his story with Mark Spears, saying that it became too much for him to deal with on a nightly basis. Donovan was pulled over once by an officer who gave an attitude until he saw his ID and realized who he was. He said, quote, "And I've often wondered what happens to the young black child in Utah who doesn't have the power to say, 'This is who I am,' and it was one of the things that stuck with me." Mitchell had a great run with his Utah Jazz squad and has talked warmly about the individuals and other experiences he encountered in the city. Still, what bothered the Jazz star player the most was the feeling that many people didn't realize what he was going through, that they couldn't empathize, and it slowly turned out to be an issue for him. On the NBA player's move to the Cavaliers, he felt the experience in Cleveland to be more pleasant. Mitchell found the racially diversity of Cleveland to be different, a good and welcome change. Up next, Donovan Mitchell on retiring his Utah jersey. Donovan Mitchell was the face of the Utah Jazz, earning 3 All-Star selections before being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers during the offseason. Donovan Mitchell played 5 seasons for the Jazz, averaging 23.9 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, and 4.5 assists per game in the regular season. Even with the NBA player's achievements with the Jazz and the influence he holds on and off the court in Utah, the former Jazz player doesn't believe his number 45 jersey isn't worthy enough to be retired alongside great names at Vivint Arena. Of course, it should be kept in mind that only 12 jerseys have been retired in the team until now. During his interview, he said, quote, "I don't think I did enough. I hold myself to a high standard. Now, other people may feel that it should. I'd be happy, forever grateful, honored, and blessed for that to happen." Donovan added, quote, "But I don't think I've done enough in 5 years to have my jersey up there with Karl, John Stockton, Pistol Pete, and Daryl Griffith. I got a long way in my career to continue to improve." Only time will tell if Donovan Mitchell's jersey is retired by the Utah Jazz. He had a few great years with the franchise, but sadly he never led the squad past the second round of the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell was unquestionably a talented player, but the star thinks he couldn't contribute enough to have his jersey retired. Coming up, when did Donovan realize it was time to say goodbye to Utah? The Jazz's atmosphere shifted significantly after losing to the Dallas Mavericks in the first round of the 2022 NBA playoffs. Quinn Snyder, the Jazz's coach, resigned suddenly, and then we saw Gobert being traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Next to move out was the star guard Mitchell, who felt 2022 was the year for new beginnings. Donovan was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers on September 1st in exchange for 3 players: forward Lauri Markkanen, rookie wing Ochai Agbaji, guard Colin Sexton, 3 unprotected first-round selections, and 2 draft picks. Let's face it, we all expected Donovan to exit Utah Jazz, but no one saw the Cavaliers as the top choice for his future NBA destination. According to the odds makers' prediction, the New York Knicks was one of the favorites to grab the Jazz star guard. Following up Donovan on his relationship with Rudy, the Utah Jazz had immense potential having Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell in command. Sadly, Utah never brought home the championship during Rudy and Donovan's time with the franchise. While the duo was in charge, the franchise had a handful of postseason appearances. Per and Scape, Mitchell is currently with the Cleveland Cavaliers and was brutally honest about his relationship with fellow Utah Jazz teammate Gobert after they both exited the franchise. Mitchell explained to Mark Spears, saying, quote, "As far as he and I go as people, I don't hate him and he doesn't hate me. I wouldn't say we're the best of friends, but we're not at the point where it's like, I can't stand him." Donovan explained further the Jazz duo's relationship, thinking COVID had something to do with it. In the Jazz days, the star guard thought both the players were constantly observed under a microscope. The NBA player thinks it got to the point where the duo was evaluated on little moments while playing their game, such as how many times they made a pass to each other. The NBA player sends his good wishes to Rudy. He said, quote, "When I see him, I'm going to hug him and be happy to see him. There's no hatred. I want to wish him the best, and I know he feels the same way. The tea has been spilled and we don't know how to react. All we can do is wish both players the best and hope to see them play as rivals this time." Next up, let's look at Donovan's best moments during his Utah Jazz days. First, we have his best game with the Jazz. Game 1 of the 2020 NBA playoffs was perhaps Spida's most outstanding game as a Jazz player. The Utah star guard finished with 57 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists while shooting 19 for 33 from the field and 6 of 15 from three-point range. Talk about an impeccable performance. The Jazz lost Game 1 to the Nuggets and was eliminated in 7 games by Denver. However, Donovan's remarkable 57 points ranked 3rd all-time points in NBA playoff history. Moving on to Donovan versus Giannis. In 2018 through 19, the Milwaukee Bucks had the best winning percentage in the NBA. The Bucks were a team to be dreaded, finishing 60-22 and earning Giannis his first MVP award. While playing with the Jazz towards the season's end, Giannis did what the star players do, scoring 43 points in the game. The Bucks led by 17 points in the 4th quarter, but it was not enough. Utah's regular contributors suffered, with Ricky Rubio and Rudy Gobert failing to make the team's final lineup. As the game progressed, it came down to Donovan Mitchell versus the soon-to-be MVP. The two rivals went back and forth, delivering clutch buckets. Donovan tormented the Bucks on switches and let it fly from deep anytime he had an inch of space. Then at 22, Donovan Mitchell performed his career best score, pouring in 46 points. Mitchell and the Jazz made a statement by proving they were ready to compete with the NBA's greatest teams, and their new star guard flaunted his skills and proved he was good enough to go toe-to-toe with superstars from across the league. Not to mention his community involvement. Mitchell was seen actively participating in the community. Fans even caught him attending high school football and basketball events, and the star guard was also seen watching Utah, BYU, and Utah State football games. Talk about a humble fellow. Fans who attend pregame warm-ups will have the opportunity to get a hold of a signed shoe by the Spida. He also advocated for the anti-racism campaign and used his position for others who don't have a voice. Mitchell was awarded the NBA Cares Community Assist Award recipient in 2021, rightfully awarded. Lastly, winning the slam dunk contest, the Jazz got Mitchell by trading Trey Lyles to the Denver Nuggets for the 13th pick, the all-star guard from Louisville. Later in his rookie season, Mitchell competed in the 2018 slam dunk event during All-Star Weekend and took home the trophy. His talent wowed the crowd. Donovan wore the jerseys of some of the finest dunkers in NBA history, like Darrell Griffith and Vince Carter, to pay his tribute. But that's a wrap for this video, my friends. What do you think about Donovan's recent statements regarding his Jazz days? Let us know in the comments below. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the next one.